My breathing had steadied after I forcibly calmed myself outside of my home, and I finally had the strength to open the door. Farron greeted me like he usually did once the door was open far enough, but he sensed something tense in my emotions, so he kindly nuzzled my hand.
Hey boy, missed you too,
I said with a smile. He gave a couple of barks in response, which he always did when I spoke to him. I went to the window and stared out at the Spire, where Teresa had been residing. I had helped to save Albion from a disastrous fate, yet I had been a fool and selfish to choose love over bringing back the people who passed in the Spire. I hadn't brought my husband back for long, and it ate away at my self-conscious, because I truly believed I was guilty. Farron's barks had snapped me back from my dream state, so I looked over at him.
What is it, boy?
His barks slowly began to turn into a snarl as I neared the door.
Fern, who is it?
I asked worriedly. I heard footsteps approaching the door, and after several moments of waiting, a loud knock.
Who's there?
I said defensively.
Well, just call me Nikki. I've come to collect you. Reaver needs to speak with you now.
And what if I disagree?
I called through the door.
Then we'll take you by force.
He said nonchalantly.
So open up, love, or we'll go the hard way.
I quickly gathered a few things and shoved them into my bag. Then I pulled Farron away from the door and hushed him. We had to leave soon, before the thugs had broke through the door, and I gladly had nothing of value except for what was in my satchel. We scrambled to the back window and shoved it open as quietly as I could, then I helped Farron through, before I jumped out. I suddenly heard one of the windows breaking inside, so I peeked in only to see a Molotov cocktail burning up the wood floor. Within minutes, the entire interior had been set aflame, so all Farron and I could do was run. We had sprinted down to the demon door that lay dormant near the lake, so I had time to focus my energy and fast travel somewhere where Reaver's goonies couldn't find me. I had thought of Brightwood Tower, so I exhaled and focused. Something yanked me out of my concentration, which was a hand on my arm. One of the bandits had found me. Farron was about to leap at the man, but he had whipped his gun around and aimed it straight at him.
No, I'll stop him. Just don't shoot him.
I yelled at the man.
Fine, but you better watch that mutt.
He warned. I hushed Farron and patted his fur as the man pulled me along to the others, which there were 4 of.
I could take them on.
I thought.
I've taken on more than this.
Don't try nothing either, or the mutt is Ballerine Chow.
Nikki growled. I didn't want my best friend hurt, so I agreed to go quietly with them, and I watched my house burn up as we walked away and went straight to Rookridge. Once again, I had been escorted to Reaver's Manor, only this time not on my terms. I had been pushed and shoved most of the way, but I had let them live for the time being. I wanted to know what Reaver wanted with me this time. This time around, he was lounging by his fireplace where I first met him, and in less clothing than I expected. His pirate garb was no longer worn, but just a simple white shirt and black pants with his usual pair of boots. He turned to look at me, once his men had left the room.
You,
he said fiercely, as soon as he looked at me.
What?
I asked.
You are in a great deal of trouble. You made a mockery of me with your little stunt. and now you have nowhere to run. My men have taken your precious pet, and he shall not be returned to you until you have paid your debt to me."
At this point I had nothing to say, but he was right about having nowhere to go. But that meant he intended for the destruction of my home.
"And you shall stay here, in my employ, thanks to your stunt."
I'm not staying here, Reaver. I have a job that I just can't leave, and I'm pretty sure they expect me to show up tomorrow.
"Yes, you do have a job, and now it shall be working for me. Do you understand? If you disagree, I shall have my men cut your little doggy's head off and serve it to you on a silver platter."
I knew you were scum, but I never thought you were this disgusting.
I spat at him.
"You will obey these orders, love, or I'll be forced to shoot you."
I sighed heavily and shook my head. What was this man seriously thinking?
Reaver,
1,
He began his count.
this really isn't necessary.
2,
My face twitched, and I closed my eyes to try and calm myself.
You're just not going to listen, are you?
He smiled and lifted his gun.
3.
Before he could even finish the count, I quickly reached for my pistol and aimed. Both of our bullets shot out at the same time, and hit one another. Reaver's eyebrows raised, and his eye twitched. I just stared at him angrily.
Impressive. Where exactly did you acquire that weapon?
Samarkand, if you must know.
I huffed as I looked away from him.
Ha! It seems that you are a lot more interesting than I had initially thought, Sophie. I suppose I could let you live. It would be most useful since I do need you to pay off that debt.
Reaver, seriously, I'm not.
I am not asking you.
He snarled.
So we have a deal then?
He had still held his gun high without straining. I had no words for him. I was just appalled by his outrageous behavior, and just when I thought things couldn't get any worse.
As you can see, my patience wears thin, Sophie. You can just hurry and agree, or I'll shoot you where you stand. Besides, you have a lovely face, and I'd rather not stain my furniture.
Fine, Reaver. Just stop talking.
I exhaled quickly, which showed my obvious frustration.
Just give my dog back.
He cocked his head with a smile, and holstered his dragon stomper without breaking his gaze.
You really do have a fascination with that mutt, don't you?
He began to laugh at himself as if he had been told a private joke.
Oliver will bring him to you in the morning.
Thank you.
Your room is up the stairs, the second door on the right.
He interrupted. I shifted my weight uncomfortably and walked out of the room, and I made my way up the stairs and into the spacious quarters.
Why do I let her get away with so much? I've killed for much less.
Reaver thought.
I should have never spoken to him at the market. I can't believe I have feelings for a man like that.
You're going soft. Victor, you pathetic worm.
I had stayed in the bed for the remainder of the day, since I didn't dare face him now, and I had cried myself to sleep for the first time in years. Dreams had come to me as I drifted into sleep, and for once, they had been pleasant and happy memories.